On the right, S.E. Cupp in the Crossfire. Mo Alathe, who helped shape the message for the Democratic Party. And Sean Spicer, the message chief for the Republicans. Opportunity agenda or a roadblock for job creators. Tonight on Crossfire.
Welcome to Crossfire. I'm S.E. Cupp on the right.
And I'm Stephanie Cutter on the left. In the Crossfire tonight, both political parties' top message men. One of President Obama's biggest applause lines last night, reminding America that women still earn 77 cents on the dollar compared to men. It seems pretty nonpartisan to say it's time to close the pay gap. But watch this video closely. Not everyone was very excited about it. Keep your eyes on House Speaker John Boehner.
Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
You might have noticed it took Speaker Boehner some time to figure out that if you're having a woman give your State of the Union response, you better stand up and applaud the very policy that says she's worth just as much as a man. It's not just bad optics. Republicans have a real policy problem here. One example, the Paycheck Fairness Act. Republicans refused to let it pass. See, it's great that Republicans picked a woman last night. She did a great job giving the State of the Union response. But I guarantee you that women across the country would rather have equal pay than a woman giving a State of the Union response.
Well, I appreciate your kudos to Kathy McMorris Rodgers. I think she did a great job, too. And I hate to point it out that women in the White House make 87% of what their male counterparts do. So it feels a little like lip service.
Well, you know what? On that, I know that personally. And for equal work, women and men make the same amount. And the one person who's out there calling for paycheck fairness, equal pay for women, is the president. So it's hard to criticize him there.
Okay. In the Crossfire tonight, the communication directors for both parties' national committees, Mo Alathe for the Democrats and Sean Spicer for the Republicans. Mo, let me start with you. I've heard some Democrats today saying that they liked everything the president said last night. Of course, no surprise, but they didn't give them a path forward. He gave a long laundry list of the things that he wanted and basically said, make it so. Well, you know what? We all know what he wants. We're all clear with that. It's the same things he wanted last year. But without saying what he's willing to give up or Democrats' room to compromise on something, what did he say last night that got us closer to accomplishing any of the things that he wants?
Well, look, first of all, I don't know that the president should use his speech as a place to negotiate with Republicans,
Sure.
right? State of the Union speeches are typically an opportunity to lay out the agenda.
But he could have.
Well, I don't know. I mean, considering that the Republicans, every time the Republicans, he tries to sit down with the Republicans to negotiate, they actually walk out of the room or storm out of the room.
Actually, he says, I will not negotiate more often than not.
On shutting down
well,
the government.
shutting down the government, I think most people are genuinely with him on that point. But look, what he did last night, actually, I think was the exact opposite. I think he laid out a path forward on actually how to get a lot of this stuff done.
Tell me.
Working with Congress when Congress would be willing to work with him. But there are a lot of times when he can work with the private sector, when he can work with governors, where he can work with, say, legislatures to get things done. We're all kind of in this together. I know that's a bit cliche at times, but at the end of the day, we are, and not everything does have to be done with Congress, especially since Congress won't do it.
I think what we actually saw last night was the White House recycling program.
Yeah.
Speech after speech, State of the Union after State of the Union, it's literally cut and paste the same action items year after year, sounding better, sounding proposal after proposal, which you literally can go back from 2009, 2010, 2011 and say he literally said the exact same thing and nothing has happened on any of them.
You're making the point.
Republicans have actually said no and stood in the way.
But and many of these programs are Republican programs. Why are Republicans against job training to ensure that people are getting trained for jobs in the future, or better education so people are graduating
There are
prepared for
150
the
bills sitting on Harry Reid's desk right now that create jobs or ease the regulatory burden on companies that are trying to hire people. And yet not one of those was referenced last night as a way to move forward. If the president wants to act, pick one. Pick one and say, hey, as a olive branch, I will tell Harry Reid to act on one thing. Or let's do this. Let's actually do something that Democrats and unions and everyone else agrees, pass the Keystone Pipeline, put tens of thousands of people back to work with benefits, and then everybody can win. We get people back to work, the Democrats get something, the unions get something. Why is that controversial?
Look, I don't even know where to begin with all of that, Sean.
Just say yes.
Time and time again, the Republican Party has stood against every single one of the proposals that he talked about last night. You all have proposals, bills out there that you call job creating. Not one of them has proven to actually create a single job. And frankly,
so Keystone doesn't create a job.
When we see the Republican record on job creation compared to the Democratic record on job creation, I certainly don't want to take a lesson from you guys.
Okay, because right now we're at the we
created more jobs under this president than we did as opposed to losing jobs under the Republican president.
Right now we're at a 36-year low in terms of labor participation, meaning less people are actually trying to find a job, entering the labor force. In 36 years, we've lost 347,000 people last month alone.
So
gave up looking for work.
You're kind of making our point.
Yeah. Which the president needs to
the
do
proposals. Okay, let's talk about you seem to think that we live in a monarchy of some sort, but I want to talk about something that your boss said last night. The president made it clear that he wants to work with Congress, if Congress would work with them on the many of these proposals Republicans put out. But as soon as the president gets involved, they turn their back. But if Congress is not going to work with the president's not going to wait. He's going to move forward using his executive authority. Now, presidents have used their executive authority a lot in the past. Let's look at the numbers up on the screen. Bill Clinton, 238. George Bush, 197. Barack Obama, at this point in his presidency, 167. Yet your boss, Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican Party, said that it was childlike. Who are you calling a child? President Bush, President Clinton, or President Obama? Because they're all using their executive authority.
So for the first 2 years, this president did have a Democratic Congress, a Senate, and a House to get everything he wanted through.
We got a lot done.
Right. I think when you're going out and chastising Congress after not wanting to reach across the aisle and work with them and saying,
if you
don't,
not true.
It is
it's
absolutely
just not true.
Obamacare was the classic example of shutting people
and those
out of the
were
process.
Republican ideas.
And then it gets up and mocks
those were Republican ideas, and they walked away.
Okay, that's just not true.
It's based on Massachusetts plan, which with Mitt Romney,
in that plan
Newt
said
Gingrich, our co-host.
Told you differently. Nobody who is involved in the Massachusetts plan says it's part of the Massachusetts plan. No one who is involved in Congress says I was in the room.
There was plenty of outreach. At the end of the day, they walked away.
I'd just like to point out that in the past 2 months, we've got a deal on the Farm Bill, we've got movement on immigration reform, and we had a budget deal all without the president. So maybe it's time the president stays home and lets Congress get to work. But Mo, Republicans are not the only folks going after the president. This is from a letter sent to Harry Reid this week from 2 labor unions representing 1 million workers combined, expressing serious concerns about dropped coverage under Obamacare. They write, "It would be a sad irony indeed if the signature legislative accomplishment of an administration committed to reducing income inequality cut living standards for middle income and low wage workers." When you start bleeding from your base on your signature piece of legislation, what's your plan B?
Well, that is an absolutely false premise because of the fact that I would challenge you to find one single Democrat, one single progressive that says let's repeal the Affordable Care Act.
That's not what I asked.
Whereas you would find
That's not what I asked.
Well, you're talking about bleeding from the base. Our base is rock solid.
These unions complained about submitting requests to fix these problems for 3 years. They were ignored and denied.
And what has the president said? The president said time and time again that as this law gets implemented, we will work with anyone and everyone to continually strengthen it.
They don't feel like that's true.
The other side that has voted over 40 times to kill it. If you want to talk about bleeding from the base, let's talk about bleeding from the base. We saw 4 different Republican responses.
So you're not going to answer my question.
Oh, I've answered your question.
You haven't answered my question. This isn't a political problem for you that 1 million labor workers have decided that they haven't been heard on fixing Obamacare?
What you've got are folks that want to work with this White House to continually strengthen a law that is already
this letter. That's not the tone I'm getting.
No, I've read the letter, Essie, and time again, we have seen that the base is appreciative of the fact that we now have more people who have affordable health care than we did before this bill, and they sure as heck don't want to see us repeal it.
All right, we got to take a break. Democrats are spinning the president's speech as a rousing success. But next, I'm going to ask Mo why some of the most vulnerable Democrats are running away from Obama as fast as they can.
Super
Tuesday and Wednesday at Joseph A. Bank. Almost everything. Buy one, get two free. That's any two. Absolutely free at Joseph A. Bank.
You are so beautiful. To me, you are so beautiful. To me, can't you see? You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need.
These animals need someone to say to them, you don't deserve to suffer anymore.
So beautiful.
Please, go online or call with your $18 monthly gift to the ASPCA right now.
You are so beautiful.
For just $18 a month, only 60 cents a day, you'll help rescue animals who have been left to die. Give them medical attention, food, and all the love they've always hoped for. Always report animal cruelty. But right now, please go online or call, and we'll send you the photo of an animal you're helping. Do it in the next 10 minutes, and we'll also send you this free ASPCA t-shirt.
You are so beautiful.
In the next 60 seconds, another animal will be beaten or neglected. Take just 1 minute of your time to reach out and say, I won't let that happen to you.
As scared as I was, Christian Mingle made it so easy. I never thought I could be this happy, and until I was with him, I didn't realize how incomplete my life was. He's my second chance.
Join ChristianMingle.com today.
Have you ever looked for a hotel online? Well, Trivago does the work for you and instantly compares prices for over 600,000 hotels from over 100 different websites. That's how you can be sure that you find the ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel? Trivago.
Ashley, you'll find a reclining sectional prepares you for the big game. A stylish living room helps you escape it. During the final week of Ashley's grand event, you'll also find amazing room packages. Starting at only $15 a month. With 48 months no interest. Hurry in to find the best seat in the house just in time for the big game. Ends Monday at Ashley Furniture Home Store.
Rich, creamy, indulgent cheese with 35 calories per wedge. Feel free to laugh how you want. The Laughing Cow. Live to laugh.
President Obama, the Jake Tapper interview. CNN Friday on New Day and The Lead.
Welcome back in the Crossfire tonight, Mo Olathe and Sean Spicer. President Obama spent today in Maryland and Pennsylvania reciting the greatest hits from his State of the Union speech. He's going to Wisconsin and Tennessee tomorrow, but some Democratic candidates don't seem interested in being seen with him. Mary Burke, who's running for Wisconsin governor and would get a huge boost in prestige and name recognition by appearing with the President of the United States, is too busy to greet Obama tomorrow. This is part of a growing pattern. Senator Kay Hagan of North Carolina was also too busy to attend an Obama event in her state this month. Even more embarrassing was Democratic Senator Mark Udall's uncomfortable non-answer last night when CNN's Dana Bash asked him if he'd campaign with the president in Colorado.
That was not a yes or no. Yes or no?
We'll see what the president's schedule is. We'll see what my schedule is. But the Coloradans are going to reelect me based on my record, not the president's record, not what the president's done, but what I've done and how I've stood up for Colorado. That's the case I'm going to make to Coloradans.
Wow. One more chance? You're not going to say yes or no, are you?
Let's see what the schedule allows.
Mo, these Democrats are basically giving Obama the political equivalent of, I might have to wash my hair that day. Isn't this embarrassing and worrisome for you guys going into 2014?
No.
Tell me why not.
Well, it's January. Now, look, if you want to see an example of a candidate who's fleeing from party leaders, look at Governor Rick Scott down in Florida, who just last weekend had the chair of his party's committee, Chris Christie, the next great big hope of the Republican Party, and they were sneaking in and out of back doors.
Mo, you're great at turning around this on Republicans and not answering my question, but you just proved my point. If you think that's a problem for Christie, why isn't that a problem for Democrats?
The president, I think you are going to see the vice president. I think you are going to see the first lady. I think you're going to see Dr. Biden out there campaigning for Democrats proudly across the country in a whole host of different ways. If I suspect you're going to see a lot more of them than you will see John Boehner out there, considering that 36% of Republicans. Let me be clear about this.
There isn't a House member that wouldn't die to have the Speaker come into their district. In fact, there is a list of
that can be said about Democrats hoping that John Boehner.
There's a list of public ones that don't want him to show up in their
36%.
I mean, this is just delusional.
36. Let me be very clear. Let me be very clear here. 36% of Republicans approve of the job Republicans in Congress are doing. When 2/3 of your own party's base says they don't like the job you're doing, that's the real base problem here.
And I do want to talk about Republicans here a little bit. I know that's a shocker to you.
I'd love to.
80% of Americans don't trust Republicans in Congress to make good decisions for the country. Democrats in Congress poll better. The president polls better. Even the Affordable Care Act polls better.
Even the Affordable Care Act.
6 in 10 voters
Great, we can admit that that's a
want to kick out
very unpopular.
the incumbent. You guys are in charge of the House. You're the incumbents. That means you. What miracle are you expecting for this to be a good election for you? What's the bar of success for you?
Well, there's a couple things. One, the bar of success should be this. When you look at Congress, you've got to remember your party controls the other chamber of Congress, the Senate, and we're on the verge of taking that over. We're on the verge of expanding our majority in the House.
With those
so when
numbers,
you want to talk about approval numbers, at the end of the day, this is like any other game. The numbers matter at the end, and I think you're going to see us grow our numbers in the House and take back the Senate. So if there's any problem, I would say if you're a Democrat, how bad are your policies and how bad is the White House that you can't, if you look at the situation and say Republicans have these problems and you're going to lose seats and probably lose the Senate, you have really
So you're going to get that 80% number down, that 80% of Americans that don't trust you,
it's like any poll that's happened. When you start looking at individuals, first of all, I think in a bipartisan way, people look at Washington sometimes and say, you know, I want to see things get done. But when they look at the individual policies the Republican members are passing, they're very proud. When you look at the number of Republican governors around the country, every single Republican governor in this country, the unemployment rate went down last month.
And the President of the United States saw the unemployment rate go down. Let me point this out, though, about your Republican governors. The 3 states that lost the most number of jobs last month were all run by Republican governors.
Okay,
New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maine.
I want to get both of you on the record. Are you predicting that Democrats take the House?
I think Democrats have a shot at taking the House.
I think we got a shot. I think it'll pick up.
Numbers like that,
I think we're going to hold.
It's not one piece of
in November.
Not one piece of evidence that Republicans are going to do well next November. Not one piece.
Those numbers
American people disapprove of the Republican Party by a significant amount, and they approve the Democratic Party by 2-to-1 margin in some polls.
Then that really says a lot about
Even
how
our
bad
base.
policies are. Huh?
Even our base.
Well, there isn't a pollster or a pundit in town that thinks that you guys have a shot of picking up the House. I have a better chance of winning Powerball twice tonight.
Yeah, look, the biggest
problem. That's not even possible.
I'm not gonna lie. The biggest challenge we've got is because of how you guys redrew the lines, and that has
the Senate is statewide, my friend. The framers did that.
All right. I actually have
I'll put money on that today. We will hold the Senate.
I have a question for Sean.
Yeah.
I watched the...
Do I get to ask you a question?
Responses. No. Get a show, then you can. No, I watched the Republican responses to the State of the Union last night.
Which one?
I was struck by Mike Lee's response, and in particular, something surprising that he said that was music to my ears. Here's what he had to say about inequality. Take a listen.
It's denying citizens their right to define marriage in their states as traditionally or as broadly as their diverse values dictate.
Mike Lee just opened the door, gave permission to Republicans to accept gay marriage if they want to. Is the RNC with him or against him on that?
Well, at the RNC, we follow a platform that our delegates pass every 4 years. Our platform is very clear. We are a party of traditional marriage. We are a pro-life party, and we're going to continue to be one until our delegates change that. And it's something that our base feels very strongly about.
So did Mike Lee take you off message there?
Mike Lee, I mean, there's a difference. Our policies and our platform are very sound, and it's what the majority of the party believes. Do I think we can be welcoming to those who don't agree with us on every issue? Absolutely. We are going to grow our party by addition and multiplication, as the chairman said. And that means if you don't agree with us on every issue, but you know where we stand, and we're going to stand firm on those principles and those policies.
So you just said that that's what your base wants. Isn't Mike Lee, I'm not an expert on this, but isn't Mike Lee the head of the Tea Party? Isn't the Tea Party your base?
No, the Tea Party isn't.
He's a Tea Party member.
He is a Tea Party member. The Tea Party is an important part of our party. It is important. I think it's, and frankly, anyone who believes that it's entirely a Republican thing is sadly mistaken, as we saw in 2010 and other times. There's a lot of independents, and there's a good number of Democrats that make that up. And I would welcome more Tea Party, more independents, and a lot of Democrats that want to come and help grow Republican ranks are always welcome.
What Sean just said is that the Republican Party's current, and I understand your delegates could change it at some point, but they haven't shown any interest in doing it anytime soon. The Republican Party's current position is anti-marriage equality. The Republican Party's current position is anti-employment non-discrimination and moving that legislation forward. On issue after issue of equality, the Republican Party has been on the wrong side. We are moving in a direction as a nation. We are moving, history is moving us in a direction, and every time you are on the side, throughout our nation's history, on the side of expanding rights and giving rights to more people, you are on the winning side. When you are on the side of restricting rights for more people, you are on the losing side.
So you congratulate Mike Lee then?
I think if more and more Republicans are out there saying, let's have a conversation about marriage equality, I think we want to have that conversation.
I certainly am. Super.
Okay. Stay here. That was a great segment. I wish we had more time. Next, the final question for both of our guests. We also want you at home to weigh in on our today's fireback question. Do you think 2014 will indeed be a year of action, as President Obama says? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Crossfire. We'll have the results after the break.
Joseph A. Bank suit. Get 3 more free. A huge selection of traditional and slim fit suits. Buy one, get 3 more free. 4 suits for the price of 1 through Saturday at Joseph A. Bank.
Your eyes really are unique.
In fact, they depend on a unique set of nutrients.
That's why there's Ocuvite, to help protect your eye health. As you age, your eyes can lose vital nutrients. Ocuvite helps replenish key eye nutrients. Ocuvite is a vitamin made just for your eyes from the eye care experts at Bausch & Lomb. Ocuvite has a unique formula that's just not found in any leading multivitamin.
Your eyes are unique, so help protect your eye health with Ocuvite.
He's my dad, and I have his eyes. I have his nose. I have his sense of humor. But now that he's getting older, how can I also have his back?
When the time comes to determine how you or your loved one will spend their later years in life, solve it together. Visit Brookdale.com to customize your senior living solution today.
So what connects the dots between new jobs and cleaner air? A manufacturing renaissance and energy security? American natural gas. Fact is, America is now the world's #1 natural gas producer, thanks to safe, proven hydraulic fracturing technology, making clean-burning domestic natural gas the fuel of choice. From advanced technology to a re-energized American economy, natural gas connects them all. Log on to learn more.
Welcome back. How was everything?
There's nothing like being your own boss. And my customers are really liking our flat rate shipping.
FedEx One rate.
Really makes my life easier.
Maybe a promotion is in order.
Good news. I got a new title.
And a raise?
Management couldn't make that happen.
Introducing FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx.
It says here that a woman's sex drive increases at the age of 80.
Helps reduce the risk of heart disease.
Keep heart healthy. Live long. Eat the 100% goodness of post-shredded wheat. Doctors recommend it.
At his current pace, Bob will retire when he's 153, which would be fine if Bob were a vampire. But he's not. He's an architect with 2 kids and a mortgage. Luckily, he found someone who gave him a fresh perspective on his portfolio. And with some planning and effort, hopefully Bob can retire at a more appropriate age. It's not rocket science, it's just common sense. From TD Ameritrade.
Next, Erin Burnett's back, and she's got friend Jim Cramer with her. What mad advice does he have for you to make money in 2014? Jim tells Erin Burnett out front. Next on CNN.
Now everyone who uses catheters can get a better catheter with Liberator Medical's free catheter sample pack. These new catheters are better than ever, easier to use, more convenient, comfortable, virtually pain-free. Don't wait. Call now and get your free catheter sample pack. There's the all-new compact catheter for women, pre-lubricated, no drips, no mess, fits in your purse. The self-lubricated catheter, it lubricates itself in the package, comfortable, no mess. The closed system catheter, pre-lubricated with its own collection bag, proven to reduce UTIs. The discreet pocket catheter, curved to fit in your pocket to go anywhere. The polished eyelet catheter for micro-smooth comfort, reduces friction and pain. Call now. We'll also bill Medicare and your insurance for you. Call for your free catheter sample pack with free shipping. Call Liberator Medical.
Call 1-800-637-2682. That's 1-800-637-2682.
President Obama, the Jake Tapper interview. CNN Friday on New Day and The Lead.
We're back with Mo Alathe and Sean Spicer. Now it's time for the final question. Sean.
Yes.
For you, on immigration reform, there are signs of progress. I will grant you that. But I remember a time when Republicans wouldn't even consider reform for undocumented immigrants across this country until a 10-foot wall was built. But now they're actually talking about legalization for undocumented immigrants. How far exactly are you willing to go on that?
Well, I think border security is always going to come first. Rule of law is going to come first. We cannot create a situation where we pass a law.
What about the 11 million undocumented?
But you can't document them or put a system in place and then say, oh, we didn't close the door to the border, and then we have another 11 come in the next 30 years. We tried this in the 80s.
We
got to make sure
that.
we do it right.
What about the 11 million undocumented?
That is a conversation that is starting, as you put our conferences meeting over the weekend, starting to go down a path to talk about how we can create a system that ensures that we secure the border and don't create a second problem and recognize the issue that there are 12 million plus people in this country illegally that have to be accounted for.
So you're not going to answer it?
No, I'm saying that this is not a
We know that
problem.
Republicans want to secure this problem, but where you always get hung up is on whether to grant legal citizenship to the 11 million undocumented immigrants living in this country. That's where it always gets hung up.
Yeah,
so I'm asking you whether or not you're willing to negotiate on that.
That our side is taking very seriously and working out an answer, but doing so in a way that doesn't say, let's bring these people in and recognize them without closing the border off so that we don't end up with the same problem again in 30 years.
Okay, my final question for Mo. On the other side, Democrats have always made citizenship for those 11 million undocumented immigrants a must for any immigration bill. Are Democrats ready or willing to accept anything less than citizenship for those undocumented immigrants?
Well, I think it's
documented immigrants.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that we support a pathway to citizenship and want to see a pathway to citizenship and feel that it's an important piece. Now, I'm happy I guess, to hear that Republicans are beginning to think about talking about this issue a little bit. Just in your summer meeting, I think it was, not your most recent meeting, but in last year's summer meeting, the RNC met and talked about immigration reform and didn't talk about,
Are you
didn't
going to
include
answer my
it
question?
at all.
Or just talk about Republicans some more.
Look, I'm going to talk about, well, look, I think it's,
where are Democrats willing to move on that pathway
I think
to
what we have seen
citizenship?
is Democrats are now saying we are willing to listen. The Republicans want to talk about this in a piecemeal approach. We will talk about it in a piecemeal approach, but we want to still see a pathway to citizenship.
Let's recall,
Okay.
they did control the Congress for 2 years and didn't do anything.
Okay, well, thanks to Mo Olathe and Sean Spicer. Go to Facebook or Twitter to weigh in on our fireback question. Do you think 2014 will indeed be a year of action, as President Obama says? Right now, 45% of you say yes, 55% say no. The debate continues online at cnn.com/crossfire, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. From the right.